pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting's being recorded. Please, everybody, try to keep the noise down so we can all hear. And we welcome you to come tonight. Okay, roll call. Thomas here. Boyer.
Here.
DeRange. Here. Dennis.
Here.
And Jeff.
Here.
Okay, you want to say this? Next is going to be comments from the floor. You want to...
Well, 3 minutes limited to residents and or taxpayers of the township. And we reserve the right after a certain period of time to continue public comment to the public hearing that's scheduled for February 18th at 6 o'clock. We have no idea of how many people want to comment, so we'll play it by ear. So, anyone who wants to make public comment, approach the podium, state your name and address if you would.
Does anybody want to make a public comment? Step up to the podium. You have 3 minutes. How's that?
Not hearing any public comment?
I do. Is this for the data centers?
I'm sorry?
For the data centers, public comment?
Anything on the agenda?
Yeah, I do.
Anything on the agenda?
Okay. No one else has.
That's not on the agenda.
Technically, but we'll allow public comment on the data center.
Forgive me. No one was raising their hand, so I'm very proactive.
Lauren Miller, Kingsbury Road. God uses all things for good, so it's a gift to see you all this evening. My people is my prophet. My people is my prophet. My people is my prophet. I wanted to share a couple things this evening. I wanted to share, first and foremost, for anyone who opposed to the data centers, I wanted to kindly ask us, even though it may be hard at this time, that we could be open to giving our neighbors grace, because I know people are hurting, and that's what hurts me, and that's why I'm here to speak today. Jesus died on the cross for imperfect people. He would never have had to die for people that were perfect. And so we shouldn't be surprised when people hurt us. It's normal. Jesus died for them. My second thing on the data centers is, I wrote this in my letter. One, there's going to be a lot of pollution in the area because of the data centers. I'm a businesswoman. It sounds like a really bad business deal, to be honest. Two, my family has built amazing, epic land, homes in this land from the ground up with their whole life savings, and really to build something like that in their backyard just it hurts my heart so deeply that we would do that to our neighbors. Three, my generation cannot afford homes. I know many people, I'm a millennial, many of my people in my generation who are married are living with their family members. We want to keep as much residential land in their pocket as possible. And then the next question I want to lead with this evening is, I really care about your spiritual health. I care about our spiritual health, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, how healthy are we there? So I wanted to ask everyone tonight, who is your enemy in the room? Is it me? Is it the supervisors? Is it the people for the data centers or not for the data centers? If it's for any of those people, you've been lied to. You want to be spiritually healthy. None of those people are our enemy. Satan is our true enemy, and we are more powerful together united. Now quickly, if you don't mind, I'm going to be a little childish this evening, but it says in the Word of God that anyone is able to become a child of God just by believing in Christ. So I'm going to show you my little stuffed animal. A little Bible story to lead us out for the evening. This is Daniel in the lion's den, okay? Have you ever heard of that story? And God can put anyone in the lion's den. He can put any of you in the lion's den. You don't have to be rich, poor, beautiful, ugly. I don't know what you would claim yourself to be, but he can put anyone in the lion's den. And what I really care about so deeply for everyone tonight and in the future is, if God ever allows you to be in the lion's den, will you be able to trust that he's going to shut their mouths? Because Money's not gonna rescue you in the lion's den. Your neighbor might not, your supervisors will not, but God can. And so my hope and prayer is that we can all deeply come to know how much my God loves us. And then a woman lastly warned me to tell you, she can't reach you because she's in a nursing home. She said, warn the people, money talks. It says bye-bye, but land stays a lot longer. Money talks, it says bye-bye, but land stays a lot longer. I love you, God bless you, God bless this meeting, may peace continue. Thank you.
That was brave, Lauren.
I'm Denise Moyer, Denise Arner Moyer. I was born and raised here, as probably many of you have been and are. And I thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts that you are here. I have nothing prepared but to say thank you. Thank you to the township supervisors who are trying to help and with this curative zoning ordinance amendment. Thank you for Attorney Nyhart. Thank you, Attorney, for being here. And I would also like to tell you, don't give up. You know, there's always an avenue. Whether we have the skill set to know how to do it, it's not up to us. But this gentleman does, this committee will, and they will work together. So please don't lose faith. Please know in your hearts that everybody here wants the same thing. And the 31 neighbors that have decided to have that curative amendment, meaning they wanted things rezoned from agricultural to the industrial to have the data center, we don't know where their minds are, and it's not for us to say. So, as Lauren said, keep an open mind, say your prayers, and as a group, know that we do have an effect. At the last census, we have over 1,100 and some residents in this township. And a group of us have gotten together so that we can support each other. And what we've done is we've just canvassed the area, over much of the township. We may have missed people, but at this point, I think, Wendy, we have over 500 and some residents that have signed our petition to fight this. So please know that we're with you, we're fighting with you, and Attorney Nyhart will be the guiding light here for our wonderful township supervisors. So thank you, and thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts.
My name is Roy Baker. I live over on Birch Road. Data centers, I believe, are inevitable. It's the next evolution of what's needed for the country. But we can't give up our agricultural. For our children, for our grandchildren, if they need to start growing food for this nation, and we don't have the agriculture to do it, we're going to be in a world of hurt. I work for the state. I know there's other areas that are available that could be more suitable for data centers. There are areas of mine reclamation that is nothing able to be done with them except probably for industry. Other areas that already have the roadways built to them that they don't need to reconstruct another roadway to get to where they want to put this one. Where are they going to get the water? What I read, it could take as much as 5 million gallons of water a day. And that water, after it's used, is going to be contaminated. I don't feel we need to have the same instance that happened with the gas well drilling. They waited till after the fracking was done, damage was done to the waters, done to the soils, and said, oh, we could have done this differently. I think it needs to be looked at seriously going forward for this data centers, that everything is covered properly and correctly so we don't have the same problem. For water discharge from over where they're putting it over Council Cup, it's only got one place to go. Big Wop and into the Susquehanna. And if that water's polluted, there goes the fishing that's in the Wop, Big Wop, and it's going to damage the Susquehanna clear down that they don't want happening. They're monitoring as is. Like I say, I know they're gonna have to probably do data centers because of the growth of it for in the nation, but there are gotta be better ways of looking to where they are gonna put them, because there's other areas that's available that's gone to waste. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kathleen Bednar. I live up right on West County Road, and I have a 6-year-old and a set of twins who are 2 years old, and as you can understand, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted right now. And there's so much we have to contend with in this world that I'm angry that I have to be exhausted about this. As one anonymous landowner shared in one of our groups that they've offered generational wealth for their lands. I understand that's really exciting, but if you're offered something more than what it's worth, you have to ask, what else are they buying? Your morality? And I'm sorry if it's gonna ruffle feathers, but wealth like this doesn't come out of no one's expense, it's at the rest of the community's expense. That's terrifying to me. And as someone, I've just been here over a year, I lost track, but I spent 2 years, once I was able to finally move out of my area, 2 years searching every day on Zillow to find a house that was livable, that wasn't a hoarder house, that had a yard. Like, I just want to explain how grateful I am to be here and how terrified I am of losing that. I just wanted to share that because I'm incredibly grateful to be here and that it's beautiful. So I wanted to share that with my community, and thank you.
Anyone else? No more public comment?
Do you want me to talk now or later? Do you want me to, we got one coming up here.
Hello, my name is Leroy Betts. I didn't intend to speak here this evening. I'm not a speaker, for one thing. One thing I am familiar with is what happens with contaminated water. I'm a veteran. Spent 4 years on an Air Force base that had contaminated water. I've been treated for 4 different types of cancer, recently open heart surgery. I don't know much else that's going on. I do know that what's going to go in here is going to contaminate the soil. And looking around this room, a lot of you are going to have what I have. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
My name's Corey Wexel. I live up on Bell Road. My question is, why here? There are many other areas in the state that are equipped for industrial facilities. Hazelton's got 2 industrial parks. There's an industrial park in Berwick. These are areas that have city water and city sewage, ways to treat the water that comes out. Why would they want to put it here? Where they have to build infrastructure, where we all know the state of County Road and how well that will hold up for construction vehicles for 4 or 5 years. It's already like driving on a third world country road. Why come here? And the thing I keep coming back to is they come here because they know that we don't have industry here, and they believe that we don't have the zoning and the protections that areas that have industrial parks are already equipped with. We don't have the inspection requirements. We don't have the inspectors and the cadre of people to keep an eye on them as they do things. I think they're coming here because they think we're easy marks. So everybody has to stay vigilant in this and continue to fight and fight against this because, like I said, there are far more appropriate areas for this. This is an agricultural and residential community. This is not an industrial community. And big industry not only is out of place here, it will be difficult to maintain just because of infrastructure, things as simple as roads. Thank you.
Jasmine Jones, Hobby Road. I was not going to speak, but following what he said with the why here and us being easy marks, I have a friend that just went through this same nonsense down in Salem Township, and when speaking with the attorneys there, they literally looked her in the eye and said, we have more money and more legal power than you can ever imagine, so try and fight us.
Wow.
What I can tell you is what money cannot buy. Even though I am not from here originally, I am from a very similar community in southern York County. Been here for 16 years. Money can't buy this. Money cannot buy this, because this is family, this is community, and this is an FAFO type of community. So I can tell you, money, lawyers, don't mean
Dave Kotarski, St. Mary's Road. You know, I didn't come here to say anything tonight, but hearing all this is, when is the last time the community has come out like this about anything? When's the last time we saw this many people in the room? Nobody in this community wants this data center. Yeah, having fun. Well, let's make this fun too. But nobody wants this. Nobody in this community wants this. So who are we as Americans to let this company come in and take it? What you just said about the lawyers and the money, that's true, but it's ridiculous. There's got to be a way we can stick together just like we are now and prevent this from happening. I don't know the way to do it, but let's get together and do it. Hobby News on Facebook, it's there. Let's get together as a community. Scientists, we should hire lawyers if that's what it takes. We need to stop this now.
State Representative Jamie Walsh would like to say a few words.
Yeah. I'm waiting until the end so everybody local can.
Josh Arenza, Kingsbury Road. I know development is not easy to stop.
You spell your last name?
Spell my last name? Harenza.
Thank you.
I know development is not easy to stop, but regulation is better. I would want to see 2 separate hydro studies on those properties to prove that they would be sustainable for however long these things can be here. And how long can the things be there before they dried everything up and the buildings become abandoned? Well, if they're going to do something like that, they better damn well take them down. I'm also concerned about how much light pollution they would give off and the noise. I better not be listening to a lawnmower all damn day and all night. Thank you.
Hi, Mayor Lucchini on Deep Hill Road. I just wanted to,
Spell your last name.
Lucchini, L-U-P-A-C-C-H-I-N-I.
Mary Jo.
What's that?
Your first name? Mary.
Mary.
Mary. Okay.
Yeah, I heard comments about, what we can do and how we can band together, and that this is such a special place. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows how special it is. We do have legal backing because of the area that we're in. I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about the Supreme Court decision in 2020 that specifies and defines spot zoning, which seems to be exactly what the landowners are doing. In that definition, it was in that case law. Am I able to give you guys things? Okay. I just want to make sure you guys know about that. But in that case, there's a couple of landowners that banded together and they tried to get the land rezoned so they could sell it to a developer in a rural and agricultural place, and that would seem illegal. It seems very similar to what the landowners are doing now. I did also see, I read the attorney proposed proposal, and he had mentioned a couple of different case laws. That one was the Exxon quarries, but in that it says that the person that says or asserting that the zoning ordinance is unconstitutional and invalid has to prove that. I didn't see in the proposal form that he had submitted any kind of studies or anything that really proved that it would be a benefit to the community. There was nothing that showed that that the community was hurting because the industry wasn't here. There's nothing that showed that there's definitive proof that data centers don't impact the area, especially rural areas. There's just nothing that proved his points. And in fact, that quarry, the Exxon quarries case law said just that it's, again, that it's on the person asserting that it's invalid and unconstitutional. He has to prove that. I didn't submit anything to actually prove that. Somebody had mentioned about the oil and gas. They deemed that unconstitutional. Again, in the case law, Robinson Township versus the Commonwealth. When they came in and mandated that township rezone and open up their lands to the oil and gas industry, they destroyed the area, and of course, then after the fact, they deemed, oh, that was unconstitutional. It seems like data centers are the new oil and gas. And that case law showed that it reverted the power back to the township and the board of supervisors for zoning. Again, in the proposal, he had mentioned the Circuit versus the Zoning Board of Providence. I looked at that. It did say about the things you have to consider to show that, there's exclusion and that it's beneficial to the community. But that was about population growth and how population growth was on the doorstep of that community, and they were trying to deny any multi-family homes. We don't have an industry here, so you can't really use it. Surrounding townships do, that already have industrial areas, but we would have to accommodate, I believe, population growth here, which is part of the comprehension plan for Hollenback Township. I read over a few things of the comprehension plan, and it's great because it says the primary goal of Hollenback Township is to maintain the rural character. There's a bunch of stuff in here that basically asserts that our goal is to maintain the rural character of Hollenback Township, which with all these case laws, that gives you guys the power and the authority and even the obligation to do that. One of the things I was reading there that was kind of concerning, that made my concerns for where I live even more, was that in the comprehension plan it talks about the impermeable frangipain. I had to look up what that was and how to say it, but it's the definition I got was the dense, brittle, and nearly impermeable subsoil layer that severely restricts water movement, often causing water to pool above it during wet seasons. It also describes the area is surrounded by mountains and that we're on a slope. Between the slope of the area running off down the mountains and the soil, you start putting data centers in here that pave areas with the big buildings and everything, you're setting us up for disaster in a flooding event. The first 10 pages of our comprehension plan is all about maintaining the character of Hollenback Township, which again very much plays into current case law that we have the right to do that. And as the Board of Supervisors, you guys have the authority and even the obligation to maintain that. I know that, probably eventually or inevitably, we have to rezone some area as industrial to be in compliance with the Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Code. But by case law and by authority, you guys are still allowed to dictate and require that the types of industry are still in line with the character of the area and the amount of impact that can have. So if we're doing it to industrial, okay, but keep that light industrial. So it's not setting us up for disaster because of our area and terrain, and we're all, relying on wells, and we're worried about water contamination and destroying the aquifer. Dictate that's light industrial. And the data centers are rightfully being classified as heavy industrial because of their impact on land.
If you could wrap it up.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure that we all know that there is case law out there, current case law, that very much gives us a lot of hope and authority that to maintain and place these data centers. I do believe that even having the data center ordinance is going to open that up for us to have to take some. But if the rezoning can be done in a way that we can mandate light industry, then I think that would be better for us. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Jeff Thomas, East County Road. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, and I'm not a public speaker, but I did have the privilege of sitting on the planning commission of this township back in 2008 and help with the rezoning of the township. And to my understanding and my memory recollection, we already have an industrial zone up off of 93 in that part of the township. But we were told we had to have a place for everything in the township, so we did designate a spot for that. And I kindly ask that the supervisory board stand with all the people here tonight, make a good decision, make the right decision, and say no to rezoning agricultural land, which once we lose it, it's gone, it don't come back. I can't talk what anybody else said here tonight, but there's plenty of places over in Hazleton, Humboldt and stuff. There's miles of open land over there if they're developing for stuff like this. So, we don't need it here. And if I was faced with the decision that these people are faced with, to sell or not to sell, it would be a hard decision. But after seeing this crowd tonight, I know where I'd decide. I'd say no. That's all I got. Thank you.
State Representative Jamie Walsh would like to say a few words. Do you have another?
Yes. Clint Lanning, East County Road. Lanning. I think most of us are here tonight because we love this community. It's unique. It's one of the few places left that we have this. Most communities can't bring this kind of support for one cause out like this anymore. It just doesn't happen. Other communities in the area even, they have not had this. I think most of us, we love it the way it is. We don't want to bring these things into here. As has been said, there's lots of other better places for these things. There's a lot of industrial wasteland, for lack of a better term, abandoned factories, abandoned warehouses that already have power and water infrastructure, abandoned mining that's already polluted that these people go. They're choosing here because they think we're stupid and weak to come here, and we're cheap. They're counting on not having good supervisors, not having strong supervisors, which I think we do. Other townships, they've just mowed over the supervisors and they pull the strings now. Because once they get their claws in, they control the money. These things, and once they come in, if we allow them in, it's not going to be this one spot up there. They're like an invasive plant, like a cancer. They will just spread and spread and spread. Because nobody wants to live on the edge of one. So the next group of people sell and the next group of people sell. Sooner or later, there is no more hobby. they will pave the entire community. And then where are we all gonna go? I think we're taking the right, being proactive, trying to get ahead of this. The supervisor's looking at expert counsel, I think is a great thing, to try to get ahead of this, get some regulations and stuff before we have any permits for these things. Thanks.
Ron Seeley, 216 Maple Road. Just on another note, gentlemen, you guys do the best job on the roads ever when there's a storm in the wintertime. Please make the right decision and keep this the community that it is, and so that you can keep doing the same job that you do on the roads all the time. So thank you. Just a different note to give you guys some time.
I'm not from this township. I'm from the Dorrance area. Dorrance area is fighting the same thing that you people are fighting, and we're united over there.
State your name.
My name is Dan Eustice, Eustice. We're at 100 Jaeger Road, Mountaintop. The thing that we have to understand is this is not only this community, it's all our communities. It's going to affect the entire mountain. And if we stay together, and we fight together, we can't let these companies bully us around. And you know, if we'll stand with you, you stand with us. Joe Zola is here from Sugarloaf Township. Jamie Walsh have been very supportive of us. If we all stick together, we'll support you, you support us, and we can fight this thing. And I have one only other comment from the Bible. David beat Goliath.
No, go for it. Listen, I'm Mark Whitebread from Township Road. I'm probably 100 yards, if that, from these things. Now, first off, if they put these buildings in, you're not going to have a fire company. It's going to be professional. Everything in this township is going to change, period. It's going to be so professional around here. The roads, you're going to have sewer lines, water lines, so on, so on. Everybody's going to pay a bill. Your taxes are going to go through the roof. Your property value is going to dump through the valley, to the ground. You'll never be able to sell anything around here. When those buildings go up, and they're saying 6 stories. What? From the horse's mouth, his own mouth, that sits in this room. And he knows who he is. And he knows I don't like this shit. The only reason they're here, power plant, power lines. That's it. Other than that, the only reason. And we'll make a few rich. 31 people are going to talk for all of us? Bullshit. If this is going to go, I think, not just you guys decide, I think it should be a township vote, period. I don't care. That's the way it should be. This is our township. We should have a say in it. Not just 4 people.
Oh, yeah.
Or 5.
Yep. That's how it works. That's how it works. That's how it works.
The fact that we had a secret freaking deal that went on that nobody knew. I knew 2 days before the last meeting on the 20th. 2 days. Somebody sent me a picture. Hey, Mark, do you know what's going on? Yep. They sent me a picture of where my house is. I said, you gotta be. And you know how that goes. You know, secretive deal. And only one person starts that secretive deal. And I won't mention his name because I'm going to be nice. But I'm not going to be nice in the long run. Anyhow, you guys got to look at a lot of things. We have the powder hole, the council cup. The council cup, I couldn't tell you how far back my parents come. I lived here all my life. I lived in town of Walt for 10 years, moved up to where I am. I've been there 52 years. This is bullshit. I don't care what people say. And I think that council cup is, I swear to God, my grandfather told me at one time, that was state land, supposed to be held there because of the council club, because of the 5 tribes that met there. I don't know if it's true. I've been trying to find out anything I can on it, and I can't find anything, but my great-grandfather, my grandfather before that kid was here. We've been here a long time. And there's a lot of Wakefords here that's been here a long time, and lawyers. We've been here the most of everybody in this area. So anyhow, that's all I gotta say, but I got a lot to say, and I'm not gonna say it, because
My name is Wendy Landis. I live on Kingsbury Road. And there are a lot of times I've always heard, where is Hobby? And it seems that there's one weekend, especially in August, that everybody finds Hobby. And that is when we all come together. And I can't say that I'm more proud that when I call people to help me at the carnival, because I'm one of the chairpersons, that people come out. And I think, and it makes me so proud of that. I'm also proud that in 4 days of us collecting signatures, we are over 533 residents that have signed against rezoning and this data center. And that is my biggest strategy. And this is counting. It is going up by the minute. There are more sheets that are coming into me. But as I said right now, 533. Thank you. You've made me proud to be from Hobby.
John Reinheimer. I'm the 5th generation on our farm.
Can you spell your last name, sir?
My son is the 6th generation.
Can you spell your last name?
R-I-N-E-H-I-M-E-R. With that being said, we are intertwined with the Good family. My great-great-grandmother, Myrtle Good, rang the school bell at the single schoolhouse up on hill. I have heard stories from numerous people between the Hellers, the Noors, and everybody in between, how the Reinheimers have always looked out for everyone in the community. Not to mention, likewise, they always looked out for them. In need, was in need, and they had it. So this community, I feel as though, has lost that value to where if someone, being your neighbor, is in need, they just turn shade. It's just not the way it used to be. So, although the Radlers and the Bloses, everybody, if you needed something, somebody came to your need. And I just think people on the outside that came in after the generations have just seen their need, not the community needs. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm State Representative Jamie Walsh, and I want to talk about an issue that's becoming increasingly important for communities across Pennsylvania. I've been going to Harrisburg now for the last 11 months, and I was the only soul down there raising the alarm about these data centers across Pennsylvania. And now every time I go down there, I have new colleagues coming to me and saying, I'm getting a data center application. What do I do? And so the word in Harrisburg is spreading quickly with the rapid expansion of these centers. I understand the critical role that data centers play in advancing technology, keeping our state competitive, and that cannot be emphasized enough. They represent significant investment, and they do create jobs, great construction jobs while they're being built, although typically only 20 to 30, maybe 40 full-time jobs per building when it's done. But we also have to be honest about the very real challenges these facilities bring. Data centers consume enormous amounts of electricity, often straining local power grids and increasing reliance on fossil fuels. This can lead to higher utility bills for residents and businesses as demand drives up the cost. They require millions of gallons of water every year for cooling, which can put pressure on
all of our local water supplies. And they take up large tracts of land, sometimes displacing farmland or green space and changing the entire character of our communities forevermore. You know, I've heard this talk about generational wealth. I get it. I've heard numbers as high as $175,000 an acre being offered. We have generational wealth. Look around this area. This is what we're leaving to our children. Noise is also another major concern. Backup generators and cooling systems can create a constant hum that affects our quality of life. These facilities also emit heat, which can raise local temperatures and impact the surrounding ecosystem. And let's not forget the infrastructure demands, including new substations, transmission lines, and fiber networks that can disrupt neighborhoods and landscapes. There's also the impact on property values. Large industrial facilities like data centers can make nearby homes less desirable to purchase, reducing property values, eroding the tax base for families who have invested in their communities forever. And while these data centers generate revenue for developers and utility companies, the benefits to local residents are minimal. Beyond a handful of permanent jobs, they do not create the kind of economic ripple effect that manufacturing or commercial development does in the end. In short, the community bears the cost without seeing meaningful returns. If you drop a pin in the middle of Luzerne County and you slowly zoom out of Luzerne County, the 117th legislative district, which is right here, sorry for my small map, is the only place left in Luzerne County for the most part for people to go for recreation, to hunt, to fish, to bike, to hike, whatever they like to do outside. And currently in the 117th, we are being infiltrated with land offers. You all know Salem Township already. I believe now there's up to 32 buildings going in over there. Hollenback Township, Dorrance Township, Sugarloaf, Nestapac. Those are the ones that we know of right now that are land offers are out there on. I took 3 trips to Data Center Alley, and let me tell you, this is exactly what is trying to be done to our communities. And this will not be recognizable in the next 15 to 20 years, you mark my words, if we don't stand up now. These impacts are not hypothetical, they're real. And they are growing as data centers proliferate. Yet right now, Pennsylvania has no comprehensive legislation to help balance the need of these centers to advance innovation and progress with the infrastructure, economic, and quality of life challenges for area communities. Local governments, once these are built, have very little authority to manage or mitigate the negative impacts of these facilities on the community. That's why I'm introducing a legislative package designed to give municipalities more control. My legislation is modeled on proposals from other states, such as Florida. You can reference Ron DeSantis' Citizens Bill of Rights that he released on December 4th of 2025. If you want to kind of look at the Cliffs Notes. It's being written as we speak. To ensure data center development in Pennsylvania occurs responsibly, transparently, and with real community involvement. These proposals aren't anti-technology. They are pro-community, pro-taxpayer, grounded in the simple idea that long-term development must serve the public interest and provide real benefits to local communities. We can embrace innovation without sacrificing the well-being of our communities. Striking that balance, it isn't just good policy, it's essential for a sustainable growth. And with that being said, I want to give credit to your township supervisors because they have been proactive. All of this is going on. Guys, we're finding documents in some of these communities of this planned development, not here. I'm not talking about your township. I'm talking in other areas where this development is going on, we're finding documents back 2.5, 3 years. This is a planned invasion on us. And as long as I'm here, I will always stand with you, not PPL, not the data center developers. I am here, and I will be back on the 18th to bring the first package outline of my bills to introduce to all of you, and I love your community input. Thank you very much.
Okay, comment period has ended. Okay, regular monthly meeting. Motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to accept the cash report attached to the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to pay all bills as presented.
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports.
Road report. Doing regular winter maintenance. We're working on the equipment, getting ready for spring.
County Commission?
It's coming.
Planning Commission. Planning Commission met here at the Township Building at 7 o'clock, January the 20th, 2026. Present were Daniel Jensen, Daniel Durange, Ralph Winterstein, Mike Reinheimer, and Harold Reinheimer. First up was a reorganizational meeting. Temporary chair nominated Ralph, kind of reluctantly, but he accepted to be the chairman, so we had a motion, a second, and all in favor, so Ralph is our chairman for 2026. Ralph had a motion to advance the other officers forward from 2025 to 26. Motion and a second, all in favor, so that leaves Ralph chairman, Mike Reinheimer as vice chair, and Dan Jensen as recording secretary. There was a motion, or we had the reading of the minutes from the previous meeting. Motion to accept, all were in favor. Regular meeting, there was no old business that needed action. New business, we had a very large group, but we did not have any submissions for review or anything for action in the planning commission. There was a motion to adjourn by Dan, second by Ralph. All was in favor. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, zoning. Sewage. Sewage.
No report.
No report. Zoning.
One permit this month, James Lloyd for a driveway on 140 Old Mountain Road.
Okay. Thank you. Fire chief.
2 calls for the month of January and 1 in February, so 3 calls for the year so far.
Okay, thank you. EMA.
No report.
No report. Okay, announcements. The next supervisor's monthly meeting will be held Tuesday, March 3rd at 7 p.m. Supervisors held an executive session with the solicitor on January 23rd. There is a public hearing scheduled for Wednesday, February 18th at 6 p.m. to receive public comment on the proposed ordinance amending the zoning ordinance. Okay? Correspondence?
I received a letter from Dr. James M. Case. Just briefly hit the highlights of it. It was addressed to the township supervisors. I'm a resident of Hollenback Township, where a rezoning request for the construction of a large data center is proposed. He's unable to attend tonight for medical reasons. He's a retired professor of environmental engineering and earth sciences at Wilkes University in Wilkes-Barre. He goes into much detail about largely what's been talked about here. He's reviewed the Save Our Community document about the data centers. The data center up for discussion in Hollenback Township is only 3 miles from our farm and dozens of other farms in a 3-mile radius of the proposed location. It goes on, data centers do not belong in our economically virtual rural neighborhoods. Much of what has already been discussed about the pros and cons, mostly cons. And he is endorsing the petition from Save Our Community. He wanted that to be on record.
Okay. Old business. Old business? No. Okay. New business, a recommendation to appoint Attorney Edward Nyhart as a special consultant to assisting in matters relating to the township zoning ordinance has been made. A motion to appoint?
I make a motion to appoint Attorney Edward Nyhart as special counsel to handle all matters relating to amendment to the township zoning ordinance as that amendment relates to data centers. As special counsel to evaluate the current amendment that has been proposed by Attorney Donald Krapovich. As a special counsel to represent the township in any and all matters relating to the said current of amendment.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Mr. Walsh already spoke, so I guess we can move on to the public comment. Any other business? Nothing else?
I have nothing.
Okay. Did you have to say anything?
Short or long? Short or long?
It's up to you.
Please take the podium.
Most people won't even allow me to
Take the podium and go.
I'm Attorney Ed Nyhart, and I've been representing and handling zoning matters for approximately 40 years. You've talked about recent decisions authored by the Commonwealth Court and other courts of the Commonwealth. My latest decision was this morning. I represented the zoning hearing board, was brought before us. A large waste management company wanted to start filling and stripping holes with demolition fines. I offered the opinion at the zoning hearing board precluding that, and after a year and a half of additional litigation, the Commonwealth Court agreed. So I have a lot of experience in this area, but you have to understand that a certain amount of area in a township must be allocated for each use. So if we look at gas industry, I handle a lot of gas counties. I drafted ordinances for those counties. What you do is you look at the impact that that use can have on the community. You talk about water being used. I'm involved in another township where they no longer need water. It's what they call a closed loop system. But they have to discharge at some point that water because they just if you have a hot water baseboard system, the water circulates through the house and you never add or delete water from the system except for minor amounts. And that's what the system they're proposing to cool their facilities now. But you still have to have that water impounded. You have to have double impoundment containers. You have to have rules and regulations that demand that documentation be produced to show that it's being properly disposed of. Noise is a big issue. You have to have studies on the noise. Vibration, you have to have an emergency plan in place in case something happens there, because most of what will happen there has to be handled on site. They normally will have their own fire companies, their own fire suppression, and they will handle other emergencies on site. But that has to be coordinated through your local emergency response agencies. It has to be coordinated through your police or whatever police department is handled in your community. It has to be handled through your fire company. And the fire companies always are involved in a supportive role rather than an active role of controlling what goes on inside the facility. The facility that I'm involved with now in another township, the technology has gone, in addition to closed loop, it's gone from having buildings that are 6 stories tall to having buildings that are 3 stories tall. The technology on these buildings changes weekly. What you want to do is you want to take the potential negative impacts of that community, control those, and make them disclose those. You can require material data safety sheets that disclose what they're using on the sites, what they're maintaining on the sites. You can control access to the sites, fire routes. There are hundreds of things. You have to file environmental impact statements. These are the things that the community needs to be protected. I can tell you there's a compressor station up in Washington Township. Has 8 compressors, 8 turbines. We mandated a certain level of sound. You go into that compressor station, you can't be there more than a few minutes. The vibration inside that you feel in your body is incredible. You stand 10 feet outside of that station and you can hold a regular conversation. The technology exists. You simply have to make sure that they use the technology. And my participation in this is to look at what's there and to make sure that every possible negative impact is addressed in their submissions. What's the point?
We want to keep the data center out. We don't want to investigate. We don't want to do a change. I think that's what everybody should be. We're talking about mitigating or shorter buildings or less noise. People want in their backyard.
And the law of the
to be clear to the people of the pitch.
But the law of the Commonwealth, the law of the Commonwealth is not like that. You can control its size, you control its setbacks, you can control every aspect of it. But you can't flat out say you can't have it here. Because the Constitution of the state of Pennsylvania says that...
There was a Constitution in England, too. Constitution of the United States is not abided by.
And the Constitution of the United States also...
Killed Charlie Kirk.
You can't go on someone else's lawn and tell them what to do. If someone came to your property and said, you can't do what you're doing...
You can't build a mall next to someone's residential agricultural house. Sorry, forgive me.
That's because of zoning, if there's proper setbacks.
Yeah, forgive me, but yeah.
No, listen, I'm willing to take questions. The law, I know.
Forgive me. Yes, and Jesus I know, so you have to forgive me when I spurt out how loving thy neighbor. It's okay, like I said before, when someone chooses to sell their land to their neighbor for this, they aren't obeying the first commandment, and I understand that. When I stand before God and I want to obey the first commandment, so you have to forgive me. The law and the first commandment are two different things, but it's not love. But thank you, sorry.
And I may agree with you,
yeah.
But my job first and foremost is to protect the community. And if somebody makes a concentrated effort to acquire land, then you are faced with some difficult possibilities. And the level of complexity of this, there's laws that cover air quality for those generators that they have to have because they need a constant source of energy. And they're only allowed to have energy down in outages for 24 hours before all the generators kick on. So they have to test the generators. Well, those generators generate a tremendous amount of sign. You don't want those generators. You want them properly housed, properly encased, and you want proper pollution controls on those devices. And I could go through this ad nauseum. I mean, there's a
just
list.
want protection for our land. It's not for anybody just to pick up and take.
And I understand that. But you have to realize also, as you regulate these uses, your township, it affects the desirability to put these things in your township. So if a township has a 100-foot setback, then that limits the amount of land that they need to put up the data center. If a township has a 500-yard setback, that means there's more acreage required. You guys haven't even addressed the issue of sewage disposal. And that's done in conjunction with Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. You're going to unearth the disturbance permit. You're going to have the county planning commission who's going to be handling that part of it. These data centers, they come in, they flash a lot of lights, But when you get down to the nitty-gritty of how they are going to function in a rural community, it is very, very difficult for them to function.
But who pays for the mistakes, for the miscalculations? Who is ultimately responsible for the cleanup? Who is ultimately responsible for, we gotta fix this? It's gonna be a citizen, the taxpayers of the community. There's no trust fund
We
set up.
had the roads, the townships I represented, we had the roads bonded by the gas companies. They repaved every single road. If that's a problem.
Repaving a road is not gonna fix an environmental hazard.
Yes, but the idea is to make sure that you understand how their facility
Giving the
works.
citizens infrastructure is just basically a little carrot. It's what's going to negatively impact the environment.
I absolutely agree.
What's going to contaminate our neighbors' wells.
I absolutely agree.
Who's paying for that? After the fact that, oh, we made a mistake.
I'm sorry, I know you said they rapidly change, which is great, but that's a big gamble on our part. Like, if it doesn't, like, if it changes for the better or the worse, and we're an experiment for this.
My point is telling you is they don't know what to do. They have no idea of what their actual needs are until they start letting bricks and mortar.
So if nobody has any idea what they're doing, how are we doing this?
All right, hold on, time out. You're throwing all of this stuff at us. And what is happening is we, right now, the way you're speaking, we're all thinking, oh shit, they voted the wrong way.
Absolutely.
So can you please tell us, not that you're going to downsize it, but are you going to help us stop it?
Stop
it. That's all we want to know.
Amen. Thank you. Yes, that's what we need to know.
We told them to hire you to stop it, not make it smaller.
No,
Cut the meeting.
What I would do is make it less desirable. Who hired him? You've heard your state legislature tell you that they have a lot of sites for their planning list. They're only going to pick the desirable sites. They're not going to pick the sites that.
Okay, so can you make it less desirable enough that they don't want it?
I can make the level.
Yes, is that you're going to make it so difficult that they walk away. That's your goal.
That's the only thing you can do.
Okay. Can you go on the record and say that you are going to try and make it very undesirable?
I am going to go on record and say I will propose ordinances that will make it safe.
Can you quiet the back glass up in here?
I will make it more costly for them.
Can you explain?
How much you paid off?
I think that's what.
I'm not trying to come at you, but I want to make, the way you were talking, it didn't sound like you were on our side. And I believe that you are on our side because I believe you guys would not have voted for him if he wasn't.
Very fine line that I stand in front of the public and say something.
But I'm trying to help you not lose them so that you can fight for us.
Ago, what I said as a private citizen sitting there is different than what I can say as a solicitor appointee.
Well, if you want to meet at Dorrance Inn sometime and talk as a private citizen, let me know.
I don't get that. I don't get those privileges until I deposit the totals.
She's been waiting for me.
Okay.
Is there a state commandment, a state law that says X% of a township property has to be zoned industrial? And if there is, what is that percentage?
There is no percentage, no state law that mandates any percentage on any given use.
So why does this area have to be rezoned industrial at all? Why can't it stay all agricultural?
Because you have to allow a reasonable amount of property for every given use.
Reasonable is such a gray area. So
Yeah.
you're saying right now there's nothing on the books, no state law, no commandment in Pennsylvania saying X% of Hollenback Township has to be zoned industrial.
That's correct.
Thank you. I think we, the people, in our United States Constitution, We, the people, are showing you what the majority of the people want, and that's why we would hope that you could understand that and keep this cancer and evil out of the township. Not that we don't love the people and respect their decision. This is tough. It's dividing the community. It's tough. We wish Pandora's box was never opened.
Yes.
But we need your help to represent us. What is that? The needs of the many outweigh the few. I hate to say that, but look at what you're dealing with here.
And I understand that, but understand, like anything else, I have to follow rules. And my job is to know those rules and then make sure they apply to the objectives that you're seeking. Not necessarily.
So if it stays residential, they can't build the center, but you're saying somehow that it stays agriculture?
You cannot sit there and say, this use is coming in, I'm zoning it out.
Just what?
You cannot say that you don't want to use in your township and you're going to use your zoning to stop it. That's against the law.
Why?
She's hobby.
Listen, this is gonna border my property. I am right next to it. And you people don't understand. I have family members, not community members. I have family members that have signed to sell their property. My parents' homestead that my cousin now lives in. I'm gonna look out my side window with a chain link fence with barbed wire and a drive road coming in, and I'm gonna hear all that noise. You keep saying that you can make it lower. Well, guess what? You're not gonna make it lower. It will be within their standards, but I'm gonna hear that. My property value is gonna go to nothing, because who's gonna wanna buy next to a data center?
Why don't you move here and see how much you fight to get it out? Or not to come in at all?
So you were hired to protect the township, right?
That's exactly.
Okay. So what are you doing actively to protect the township?
I have been
To
hired-
ensure, let me finish, to ensure that they're meeting the municipal planning code and the Sunshine Act. Because as of this date, to my knowledge, the proposed ordinance has still not been publicly available, even though it was advertised in the paper that it would be publicly available. I highly recommend, if you haven't already, to consult with Nescapac Township supervisors, because they've already been sued for not following proper procedures, including the Sunshine Act and the municipal planning code. So as the township hired you, you need to do your homework and protect this township so they're not sued like Nescapac Township was. Because anything that Nescapac Township has done now potentially could be null and void. So the months that they took to pass their ordinance may go up in flames because of procedural issues. So I sure hope that you are guiding the township supervisors appropriately to follow the municipal planning code and the Sunshine Act to make sure that anything you pass is legally defensible and not void.
The
Based
proposed
on
amendment
technicalities.
is available in 3 places. Township Municipal Building, has a newspaper in which it was
Shouldn't you
advertised.
have a weight limit put on
The
the
newspaper
township
in which
road
it was
to prevent the
advertised,
impression?
and at the newspaper in which it was advertised, I didn't interrupt you, so do me the same courtesy, if you will. And at the law library at the courthouse. So it's available for your perusal at 3 different locations.
So you already filed a copy with the law library in Missouri County, correct?
Correct.
Don't have to
So-
weight limit on the roads, if they road the road.
So that means you are no longer working to make changes to that ordinance. What you have now has been submitted to the county, and that's what you will be voting on in a month. You're not gonna make any more
There may
changes.
be changes at the public hearing, potentially.
Has,
Curative amendment statute allows for change during the process. They require an extra meeting, but it is allowed.
but can it pass at that meeting? Because Nescapac Township was only allowed to make minor changes, like a wording of should versus shall,
in order to pass the ordinance that night. If it was any major changes, they had to go back through the whole process of Luzerne County and following it with the law library all over again. So I want to make sure that you are giving them the proper legal advice and guidance so that you're not in the same situation as Nescapeck Township, and whatever ordinance you pass will stick.
And I understand the procedural aspect. So yes, I will advise them on that as soon as we're done with the question and answer session.
Which is you, and thank you for being willing to be in front of us. But what I'm confused on is exactly what you were hired for. Meaning, my impression was that it would be for writing or amending or whatever the appropriate verbiage is to make the zoning that level, or it wouldn't be industrial land. I'm confused on that.
Okay. I am hired to deal with the situation as it now appears and to make sure that to the greatest extent possible, the needs of the community are met.
So it's not to draft and have voted into zoning law that's not going to permit this level of industry.
That may be part of the process.
It wasn't in that, this is why we would like to hire you, sir. That's not like a yes or no, but that's okay.
I was hired to assist in addressing the curative amendment procedure for the township and to address the curative amendment challenge of the applicant.
Okay, so this isn't, you aren't the solicitor or the lawyer that the township will use to draft zoning rules, of which to the code.
I was a consultant on that process.
A consultant, who's going to handle it?
I will be handling it.
Oh, okay, that's what I was asking you. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I know technically when we get to know the latest. But I understand right now there is technology available for much smaller data centers that can hold and contain just as much as these mega centers that we're building. And by the time a lot of the mega centers are up and running, they're almost obsolete. Is there any way to put a hold or a stay on this happening till we see, number one, Elon Musk is hoping to do something in outer space with them. He just acquired something, was on the news this morning, to make it easier to put them in outer space where it's cooler. Can we put a stay on this to see what's going to happen in the very near future, 1 or 2 years? Because we might not need something so huge.
However, the ordinance is thorough enough, they have to present sufficient information to satisfy the requirements for multiple state, federal, and local agencies. That takes a long time if you're not careful, and it deserves a lot of scrutiny.
So you can prolong it.
I didn't say that.
You don't say that usually, okay.
It's not intentional, but with the way the legalities of this complicated, I'm just going to say mess, this complicated issue that we're on, it is somewhat very time intensive.
I live in the wonderful world of time sensitive. Okay? That should be enough to explain to you what the nature of this project is.
I really would urge everybody to please have some faith in the supervisor's decision, because he's not wrong. You cannot legally prohibit any type of use. I have seen it happen where you put enough restrictions on, it makes it no longer profitable for the developer. So that's the point that he's trying to make. He's going to try.
I did not say that.
But he's trying to protect the residents. And in as such, he could make it to the point that the developer no longer finds it profitable.
Or they can't prove that it would be, they can't provide.
I did not say that.
Don't they have to provide information?
Don't put words in my mouth.
No, I'm asking you, don't they have to provide, like, information that they can abide by all of that and proof, basically?
Oh, absolutely.
And if they can't, then you can say bye-bye.
Well, I did not say
You didn't say that either, but okay, I know. You're a lawyer.
I don't mind a tough crowd, but you're not going to get me to say things that I know I can't say. Thorough. The word is not tough, it's thorough.
Question for the supervisor. Do you know the date that ordinance was published in the newspaper so that we can more easily retrieve it?
Could you repeat the question?
Do you know the date that the ordinance was published in the newspaper? I'm assuming the Press Enterprise?
Yes,
That
it wasn't,
newspaper
the
was
full
published?
text wasn't published in the newspaper, but it was available, is available at the newspaper and at the law library
The newspaper,
and at the municipal building.
the newspaper reads specifically that it is available at the municipal building, and with a small fee, we could get a hard copy. Actually, was there this day from the worker, he said that was incorrect in the newspaper, and that it was not available.
It is available.
I was there yesterday.
It is available,
Today?
Yes.
Today it's available at the municipal building.
among the other two places, yes. At the newspaper and at the law library.
Thank you.
Thank you.